Hello friends. I surely wish I could be there with you. I'm grateful though for this video opportunity to share my thoughts as a peer tutoring artist. Thank you, Laura and Mike. Thanks also to Dan, the managing director of the English Digital Studio, and thanks to Riley, my aide, who's sitting here just under the camera line in case I need assistance. The theme of this conference, the art of it all, especially the distinction between artists and artisans, has helped me make some connections between writing center work and recovering from a spinal cord injury. I'll bet you're like me. If you become paralyzed from the chest down and are rushed to a hospital for emergency spinal cord surgery that will use titanium to fuse your C4 and C5 vertebrae, you don't necessarily want a surgical team of artists who will create a piece of art. You want artisans who will perform with precision the flawless work they've repeated many times before. You want functional results, right? When it comes to medicine, I want artisans, though my excellent surgeon just happens to be an artist, a jazz keyboardist. What I discovered was that I, the patient, needed to be an artist in order to feel like an individual human rather than a patient with a number. I needed to be an artist in order to feel a hope of recovery rather than the depression of defeat. Thankfully, I've been blessed with recovery. Following the surgery, I could only move my wrist like this. Now look at me. And I typed this by myself. It's the first paper I've actually used my fingers on. So I feel kind of proud of it. I'm starting to think through my fingers. Slowly, but it's happening. I was thinking of trying to speak my presentation to you instead of reading it, but hey, I'm proud of this manuscript. Also, I need to read because the medication I take for spasms makes me loopy and forgetful. And those of you who know me can confirm that before my injury, I was never loopy or forgetful. 15 months now into my recovery, I think the art of peer tutoring has made the difference. It has helped me endure losing control, losing independence. It has helped me stay curious and have a positive attitude. Before I continue with peer tutoring as a rehabilitative art, I want to acknowledge another difference maker that has helped me endure and recover. A massive support system. That includes many of you at the conference, and that features my wife Cheryl Glad, the best advocate and motivator ever. I can take steps now using a walker, and I feel sure it won't be long until I can dance again with Cheryl. I owe my recovery to many things, but Cheryl is the foremost. Also, my vast community of former students, colleagues, and other friends. Also, my supportive university, Penn State. But let me focus now on the peer tutoring connection. Something happened my second night in the intensive care unit following my surgery. Something happened that made me feel a connection between healthcare and tutoring care. It made me feel that the writing center field can learn from healthcare. That we had too quickly and too simplistically ditched the metaphor of the writing clinic. I thought I'd find something to write about. By the time I had transferred to a spinal rehab hospital a couple weeks into my paralysis, I had thought of my title: Curiosity, Bowel Control, and the Idea of a Spinal Rehab Writing Center. The problem is, it hasn't come together. I still haven't found those connections. Maybe I will once I've had a chance to read the scholarship of disability and literacy. But let me tell you what happened that night in the ICU. I had an existential crisis. I was in tears. My nurse, I'll call her Rebecca, had been talking to me about eating. I said to her, "Long ago I got over the personal embarrassment and indignities of the healthcare profession. However, I'd rather starve myself than have someone else wipe my ass." Rebecca thought for a moment, then said, "Well, you're just going to have to get over that too." So I did. And that has made the difference. Rebecca didn't laugh at me. She didn't say, "Oh, don't be silly." She told me the truth. Person to person, I felt like I had just benefited from a profound peer tutorial. I can't begin to tell you all the things I've had to get over since then. Things I can't control. The ability to get over it, to laugh instead of scream, has saved my sanity. But I haven't been able to apply that to writing center teaching and learning. I haven't been able to think of very many instances when a tutor can helpfully tell a student writer, just get over it. Something finally clicked, though, when I began to think about the art of it, the art of getting over it. I happened to hear one of my favorite songs, "One Nation Under a Groove," by one of my favorite artists, Dr. George Clinton, and his band, Funkadelic. I might have heard the song during my physical therapy, or maybe while I was getting a bed bath. It's a song about how to get over it, and the benefits of doing so. Now I'm working my phone with a little Bluetooth speaker here. Bear with me with this technology. The song begins by describing a problem such as the one that I had with losing control of my bowels. So wide you can't get around it. So low you can't get under it. So high you can't get over it. You see, until I had that tutorial with Rebecca that night, the line "can't get over it" hadn't resonated with me so much. Here's the song. Here's those lines.
So I can't get around it. So low you can't get under it. So high you can't get over it. So high you can't get over it.
Then comes the solution. This is a chance to dance your way out of your constrictions.
This is a chance to dance your way out of your constrictions. How? Till shook 'em. Here's a chance to dance up.
That was it. I connected that dance to what Louise Weatherby Phelps calls the dance of discourse. The peer tutoring dance of discourse can help us dance our way out of our constraints that we didn't think we could get over. The song goes on to describe some aspects of the dance to set up the chorus.
Out of our constriction, gonna be freaking up and down the hang-up alleyway. With the groove I only got, we shall all be moved. Ready or not, here we come, getting down on the one which we believe in. Can I get it on my good foot? Good God! Oh, come on, get down one time.
One nation under a groove. Getting down just for the funk of it. One nation, and we're on the move. Nothing can stop us now. It's an image of unity on a dance floor. Everyone doing their own dance, but united under the groove. Individuality within community. It's a nice metaphor for a writing center. By the way, that word in getting down, in the getting down lyric, is funk. F-U-N-K. We can break down its meaning like this. Take fun, F-U-N, add a K of knowledge, and what do you get? You get peer tutoring. I have long said in my tutoring classes that peer tutoring is a way of life. It's a way to bring different people together on the common ground of understanding. We need more peer tutors outside the walls of a writing center who can listen with genuine interest to someone with whom they may disagree or agree, can describe what they hear, and can ask questions that help both conversants learn from the process. That art of peer tutoring, the dance of discourse, has helped me find joy in my interactions with caregivers and get my mind off my constrictions. I could tell you many stories of when I found myself dancing the art of peer tutoring while unable to move from my hospital bed. But I'll end these remarks with just one story. It was with another ICU nurse. I'll call him Leo. Leo was a kind, gentle man who would say, "Excuse me," whenever he did practically anything to me. Before taking my vitals, before giving me a drink of water, before catheterizing me. "Excuse me." I pointed that out to him, and I told him I liked it. I feared that would make him self-conscious, but he spoke seriously about how important it is to respect the patient. We found common ground when I learned he was from the Philippines. I had grown up in Singapore, and my family had stopped in the Philippines several times when we had traveled back and forth to the U.S. for furloughs. Leo and I talked about the fruit. We agreed that the Philippines has the best mangoes in the world. I liked durian fruit. He hated durian. He liked breadfruit. I didn't, but he said that I just hadn't had it prepared right. We also talked about the beautifully embroidered traditional men's shirts in the Philippines, especially the formal ones made of pineapple fiber. And we talked about the blinged out jeepneys, a dangerous form of public transportation, that's sort of a bus taxi where people sometimes sit on the roof and they hang off the sides. When Leo left my room, I felt more connected to him. The nurse's station was right outside my door, and in the middle of the night, I overheard Leo and another nurse talking about mutual interests. It sounded much like conversations I'd overheard while hanging out in the writing center when tutors aren't busy and have the chance to talk to one another. The hospital felt like a writing center that night. Then I heard Leo talk about his gun collection. In loving detail, he described his guns and an AR something that he was building. Now, I felt less connected. I happen to think guns are hazardous. I favor gun control. Leo and I were at opposite ends of a political issue as divisive as any we have in this country. I wondered, what should I do? Should I say anything? What would a peer tutor, dance of discourse artist do? Should I challenge him? Try to persuade him to my way of thinking? It's appropriate to challenge a writer's assumptions in a tutorial, right? We just have to pick our spots. The collaborative learning is often a struggle, isn't it? The next time Leo and I had a chance to talk, I simply asked him a question. Leo, why do you like guns? Oh, you heard me talking, he said, self-consciously. My question had been simple and, I hoped, non-threatening, yet it was loaded. It told him my position without my having to state it. He proceeded to describe the violence of Manila, where strict gun control laws seem to mean that only thugs have guns. People feel powerless to defend themselves. In contrast to Manila, he found peace of mind in the U.S., where he had a chance of defending his family from criminal attack. He said he didn't want to shoot anyone and didn't think he ever would. He just liked to shoot at targets for sport. I gathered that guns were beautiful machines to him and were a psychological comfort thing. But I didn't ask further questions. I just listened. I'm not sure what that little dance of discourse accomplished, other than one thing. I felt connected to him again, despite our differences. We both still cared about one another, and we parted with broader perspectives. When I can walk again, I plan to visit that hospital. I hope I'll be able to walk up to Leo and thank him for helping me get started on my recovery. My perspective as a peer tutor artist helps me see a connection deeper than political differences. Thank you. I love you. Have a good conference. Bye.